So just getting ready to get out of Flint Mountain Shelter. Almost 7:30. The wind howled last night. See the sun coming up over the mountains over there. There's bear cables up there. There's like 4 sets, but only a couple of them seem to work very well. There's a privy, which I can't report on yet. Water is just down the trail. Head just north, less than 100 yards, and the water's right there. Good water source. There's several decent tent sites around here. So last night, got in here early. There were 4 of us. There was Knapp, who's from DC. There was Grindstone, who's from one of the Carolinas. I'm not sure which. I met him once earlier. And also Finn from Finland, who I met earlier. So 4 of us. A big shelter. Biggest shelter I've stayed in, and it's a nice shelter. Nice flat floor. There's actually kind of protected corners, which were nice when the wind hit last night. It was a good shelter, and it was real nice. They've got these massive nails up there to hang stuff off them, and it was a real nice shelter. As the wind ripped through, we were pretty well protected from it. And they said 60-mile-an-hour gusts last night, and it certainly sounded and seemed like it probably really happened. We say hi, Finn. Finn says hi. It's a beautiful day, probably right around 50. I'm at Devil Fork Gap, not quite 2 hours into my day. 2.6 miles from Flint Mountain Shelter, about 600 feet up and, I don't know, 200-300 feet down. Getting ready to do a pretty good climb, and then down into another road. And then I got a real climb. I got, I don't know, 1,600 feet or more up to the first peak of the day, and then there's a second one after that. So quite a bit of ups and downs today. So far good. Been working on my stride, trying to up my going up speed, trying to work my pace through the wet rocks, because quite a bit of rocky sections, but there was some real nice cruisy sections as well between here and Flint Mountain. Stay at Flint Mountain was great. It was real nice to stay with Finn. Different country, different culture, different perspective on things. That was really great. Grindstone, real easy to talk to from this area. Enjoyed staying and chatting with him as well. And then the section hiker was Knapp from DC, and he's just, he's within, I don't know, 40 miles or something of finishing, having done all the AT in sections. So that's pretty cool too. I don't know the period of time he's done it over, but for a while. And I know he's done at least part of the PCT as well. So again, he was an interesting person to stay with too. So heading up. That's the trail in the north direction. I just climbed over this this set of stairs, and I just came down off that hill as the white blaze for AT headed south, and I'm headed north. Still don't know really where I'm going to go today. Just going to keep hiking north. So Hogback Ridge Shelter at 6.1 is my short goal for the day. Sam's Gap 8.5 is doable. That's a potential pickup point if I want to go into town or into a hostel or a hotel or something. Really haven't decided though. Keeping going. Not going, obviously. Only 100 yards off down the road though, according to the sign. AT North is right over there. Little bridge across the brook. Laurel Hostels right down that way. Somewheres. I'm not going down. Head north. Been a lot of uphill since that last road crossing. Hiked up along this stream on the other side for quite a ways, and then crossed over it down a ways, and now getting ready to cross over it again. That'd be a good place to stop just to take a picture because of the waterfall. Kind of nice. It's only about 11:15. Still headed up. Been a lot more to go. I met a local hiker. Said he'd seen 5 or 6 ahead of me today. Because there were 4 of us in that shelter last night. We all stayed there because we knew the big storm was ripping through, and it did. It ripped hard last night. Both the wicked downpour, and then there was supposed to be 65-mile-an-hour winds, and I believe it. Sounded like it. And then probably some came out of that hostel I walked by. Probably went in there for the same reason, to get out of the storm last night. I won't catch anybody, but he said they were up ahead of me. Heading north. It's a beautiful day. 12:30, about 5 hours into my hike. I've gone about 5.3 miles. I want to say about 3,000 feet of ascent, 1,000 of descent, 3.5 to the next shelter, with only about 1,000 up and 1,000 down between here and there. Still haven't made my first peak of the day. I'm getting fairly close. That'll be high point, and then I dip down and go back up again, and then I dip down and go back up again. So that's why there's like 1,000 feet of ascent and 1,000 feet of descent between here and the shelter, even though the shelter's just a little bit lower than where I am right now. So trail's been good, a little soft in places. After you pull away from that steep climb up near the water, it's dry as far as being able to get water. There have been stealth sites intermittently all along. Several of them were back near the water, so they were pretty good stealth sites. Continuing up, the intent is I'll get to the next shelter in about 3.5 miles and make a decision on whether I stay there or move on for the day. Beautiful day. 1 o'clock, top of my first climb of the day. Elevation 4,540 or something like that. I got a down and an up, and then another more significant down and an up. 3.2 miles to the shelter. About 1,000 feet of down and 1,000 feet of up, something like that. A little less up than down, because I think I'm a little bit higher right now than the shelter is. So again, some stealth sites up here. There have been stealth sites intermittent. They've all been dry since the trail turns away from that kind of gorge with the water in it. And I think the next water is at the shelter, and I understand that's a little bit tough to come by. That's what Finn said. She's been by there before. Heading north. Beautiful day. So it's not even 10 past 1. So just after I stopped before, but this is the best view I've had of the day. So I stop and share it. It's nice. Nice day. Gorgeous day. Big mountains over that way. I'm probably going that way. Pretty sure I'm going that way, as a matter of fact. Right now, there's the AT. Heading north, up the hill. So I'm at Hogback Ridge Shelter. Flint Mountain Shelter last night, 8.8 miles back. Bald Mountain Shelter, 10.1, a long ways away. 2.4 to Sam's Gap. 8.8 is an awful short day. The shelter is down there. Hopefully you can see it through the woods. I can see the roof of it shining. The water is 2.25 past that. So 7/10 down and back to go get water. I don't have a ton of water, but I've got not too big an up going this way, and about 1,000 feet of down to Sam's Gap in 2.4. I could get a shuttle out of there, go into Irwin, change out for clean clothes, get some town food, take a shower, spend the night in a bed, and I could be back on the trail out of Irwin, headed southbound at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I think that's my best bet. So that's southbound. And of course, up that hill is northbound. I'm going to pass up the Hogback Ridge Shelter and head for Sam's Gap. Just coming into Sam's Gap, just to show how close we are. I think that's the Welcome to Tennessee sign right there. We're on the North Carolina side, kind of. I think the trail goes down here under the bridge to a little parking lot. That's where I think I'll meet my ride. So I'm going to head down that way. See the white blazes. Hope you're having a wonderful day. From North Carolina, I guess.